You'd think I would learn, but I have not. Okay, so lying on our backs with our feet grounded. You can let your knees drop in together, or you can let them stay hip width. If you need more support, walk your feet even wider so that it takes any effort out. Bring one hand to your belly and the other one either on top of that hand or to your heart, wherever feels more comfortable for you. Swallow a couple of times, loosen up your throat and relax your jaw. And bring your awareness to that space below your hand, which is on your belly. And try and imagine that right in the center of your palm, you have a tiny wee ball of, let's call it energy, maybe prana. And that ball is warm, like a wee droplet of wax. It's not so hot that it burns you, but it's warm enough to feel pretty toasty. Every time you inhale, imagine that little area expanding out just a touch, just like a wee ink droplet on a piece of paper. Imagine that warmth spreading from your hand to the belly. Every time you inhale, the warmth crosses your belly a little more. Perhaps that warmth is spreading out with the perimeter of your hand or hands. We're going to continue breathing slowly and directing this warmth across the body until you feel like that warm energy encapsulates your whole body. No need to rush, take your time. Perhaps you've got to the point where the warmth is now covering your whole body, wrapping you up in a big duvet. Perhaps you're not quite there yet. Let's take another 4 breaths like this. breath to get deeper. And on your next inhale, take a big deep breath in through the nose and sigh the exhale out. And from here, let your feet come to touch, let your knees fall apart, Supta Baddha Konasana. And take your hands back behind your head and grab onto opposite elbows. So we're making these two little frames, one for our heads and one for our pelvis. So feet together, knees out wide. Notice if you're holding a lot of tension in your shoulders here. See if you can melt that tension every time you exhale. Okay, from here, bring your hands back down by your sides. Take your knees together. Allow your hips to reset after that big opening. You can wiper the legs if your hips need it, or you can stay still. And then from here, extend your legs down to the bottom of your mat. Pushing your feet away, reach your hands up and back behind you. Push your hands away, create as much length as you can. And then soften any effort, keeping your hands back behind you. Walk your feet over to the left-hand side of your mat, keeping your hips grounded. Try and keep your hips, your hip points, both pointing upwards. So try not to roll onto the left hip or onto the left side body. And then walk your head and your shoulders over to the left as well for banana asana. And if you want to, you can cross one of your legs over the other to anchor you down. And if you'd like, you can hold onto your right wrist with your left hand. And to encourage the back of the shoulders and the back of the pelvis to stay grounded, let your gaze rest upwards or your nose point in the direction of the ceiling, so that we're not encouraging a tilt to the left and we're allowing our body to really enjoy the lateral stretch here without much of a twist in the spine.
He had a piece the darkness it speaks.
Direct your breath to the tightest parts of your body here. If you're feeling very tight along the right side body, then breathe into that space. If there's a particular point that's feeling very closed off or maybe a bit uncomfortable in this shape, then draw your attention there. And instead of being tempted to be irritated or feel limited by this tightness, explore it and enjoy getting to know that part of your body a little more. It's always good to know our limitations and our boundaries. And not necessarily so that we can push through them, but so that we can respect them and understand them. Let's take this same shape over to the other side. So we're not going to rebound. Start to walk your feet and your arms over to the right hand side, creating that long stretch down the left. Extending the left, flexing through the right.
This love was ours. This love is still ours.
Again, avoid the temptation to roll your head to the right or to push your weight over onto your right side, just so that we can keep the spine in a flexion, or just a lateral flexion even, and no twist.
Speaking up through his feet. Underneath, up through the darkness it speaks. This love is still ours. This love was ours. This love has been ours. This love has been ours. This love was ours. This love is still ours.
Okay, from here, bring your body back through center. Take a bend into your knees. Take your feet as wide as your mat. Knock your knees together and let your hands rest down by the side of your body, palms facing upwards. You might notice that naturally you want to create a back bend with your lower spine here, so let that middle portion of your back soften, and maybe even encourage your back to flatten by lifting your hips, thrusting your pelvis, and then lowering the spine back down, just so that you've got as much contact with the ground as possible.
Keep going.
Okay. From here, separate your knees. Draw the knees into the chest, but keep them nice and wide. And you can stay here with your hands on the front of your knees, or you can take happy baby, sending your feet towards the sky, keeping the knees bent. Reach your hands to the outside of your feet and thread your elbows to the inside. So our asana, the poses that we're playing with this evening, are exploring kind of opening and closing of the body. And happy baby is one of those wonderful ones that does both, because we're opening up through the hips, creating lots of space for our belly, but we're also pulling the legs in close to the body, so we've got a nice curve in our spine. Notice if your shoulders are pulling upwards or towards one another. Let them descend towards the ground, towards the mat. Three more breaths here. Once you've finished your third breath, close the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a wee cuddle. And then from here, roll to one side. And take your time. We're going to gently push up to a seat, but because we've been on our backs for ages, try and avoid anything that will make you feel lightheaded. Like coming out from a big bath. Okay. From here, grab your props. We're going to set up for a nice sleepy pigeon. We'll be here for a while, so if you know that you like lots of props and pigeons, like cushions and blankets and all sorts, and grab them. I'm going to have my bolster in the middle of my mat, vertically down. I'm going to give it a big cuddle tonight, I think. If you like to have it underneath the thighs, you can do that instead. Or if you want to use pillows, that's also good. And if you're not sure what I mean, I'll demo. Okay, so let's begin in a tabletop. So you can either have the bolster in between your hands here so that you can lie on it later, or you can have it across the way like this so that your leg can be supported. I know that we've all done this a few times, so I'm not going to give too many details, but I'll come and have a look and see how you're getting on. So decide which version you want to go for tonight. And we're going to start with the right leg when you're ready, taking the right knee just to the outside of the right wrist. Flick your right toes off towards the left hand side. Tuck your left toes, elevate the left knee, and then shimmy the left leg backwards. And then from here, before you descend down towards the ground, check how the hips are feeling. Are you feeling overly over to one side or the other? If you're really over to the right hand side, take a block, place it underneath your bum. If you're really over to the left-hand side, take a block and place it underneath maybe your thigh or in that space between your groin and your right foot. Whatever feels good. And then from here, let's start to lower down towards the ground or the bolster, whatever you're using. And I feel like in yin, we can be a bit more lazy with pigeon. But if it's not feeling comfortable, my go-to check with the legs is that the left foot is in the middle of your mat. And even if you do pigeon like 3 times a week, you'll always have times where it feels weird when you come into it. Nice, good. A really lovely thing to do, if you're a little higher up, is to take your block either on top of your bolster or even underneath it, so that you've got a little wee ramp to hold on to. And then from here, just bring yourself down into your version of pigeon, nice and cozy. If the leg behind you, the left leg, isn't enjoying the shape at all, you can always bend the left knee and draw it right up towards the space below your chest. So you're in more of a fallen deer shape instead. That all looks really lovely.
Told tales all night to the four in the afternoon. Gotten older, gotten wiser. Hallelujah. Never more than a whisper. Lucky warrior, rider. Stone skimmer, tricky water, paddle laughter. May you know no disaster. Lucky warrior, rider. Shot waves in the wake of a shot star. Moon's uproar, sung for you by a choir. Lucky you are a rider. Night culture, seafarer.
Once you're feeling settled in your shape, it's a good opportunity to bring a bit more awareness to your breath.
You are a rider.
Notice the way that your diaphragm presses into your foot or the prop below you. Enjoy all the space you have through the back body for your breathing muscles to expand, to move.
All of its soul and beat. My mean too low, and too low to offer you all the iron. All the hair I lost in bed. In the end, it cuts the same. So call the blow. And be here for all it's all to me. My name in rolls, it's still all in offering, or to bear myself again. It's only eyes you've nothing said. In the end, that love there ain't
Hold my
hardly
breath
no.
here.
In the air I own, in the air I want to be, running over me in my head. All the ashes rise again. All the crawl.
Okay, to exit the shape, you can press either into down dog, or you can roll over onto your right hip and take a wee seat.
The air I own, the air.
If you are in a seat, you might want to just extend the right leg and just get a little bit of blood back into the back of the leg. And if you're in down dog, bring yourself down into a seat. We're not going to go straight into the second side, so I want your body just to recuperate. From here, extend both your legs forward. Flex into your feet. If you've still got props there, it's fine, just leave them. Flex to the feet, pull them backwards, sit up nice and tall so you get that big zing up the back of your legs. And then from here, as you inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. And as you exhale, fold forward, soften the feet, soften the knees, maybe even bending the knees, coming to Paschimottanasana, forward fold. You may want to maneuver some props, maybe taking a bolster under the knees or finding a support for your head. On your next inhale, slowly push yourself back up to a seat. Taking your hands back behind you, bend your knees and let your knees wave from one side to the other. And let's make our way into pigeon on the second side. So it's left leg forward. And you can change how your props are set up if you want to. So coming into tabletop first of all. Take your left knee behind your left wrist, or just to the left of the left wrist. Cross your left foot across to the right, tuck your right toes, elevate the right leg, walk the right leg backwards, and then sink your pelvis towards the floor. And remember, before you come into the shape, before you lower yourself, if you're doing so, just figure out what's happening in your hips here. Do you need to place something under the left hip or under the right hip? Sorry, left sit bone or under the right hip? And where roughly is the right leg? Is it in the middle of your mat? Are you wanting to take it wider? Are you wanting to bend the right knee so it's right up beside you? Take your time. And when you're ready, start to lower yourself if you're not already there. Let's take another 6 breaths here. If you feel like you've lost contact with your breath, this is a nice opportunity to get back into it. Start to push yourself out of the shape. Same exit option as last time. If you're staying seated, maybe just extend the left leg. Nice. If you're in downward dog, come back down to a seat. And this time our forward fold is going to be a Baddha Konasana shape. So again, if you've got your bolster in front of you, you can, if you fancy, you can always sandwich the bolster between the feet. I have another option there, though, if you'd like something else. So we're going to take the feet to touch or sandwich the bolster, or if you've got something there and you know that you like a little bit more in the hips, you can elevate the feet and take your feet to the bolster. Know that your hamstrings are going to get a lot of information if you do that. So if your hamstrings are totally shot after pigeon, ignore this, have your feet on the floor with your feet touching. And then from here, we're going to start to lean forward. That's way too loud for me right now. So I'm going to take my feet back down to the floor. Excuse me, cat. And we're going to lean forward. Remember, the closer your feet are to your groin, the stronger the shape's going to be. So if you want a looser, softer shape, push your feet away from you. Lean forward, let your body just drape in that space between your legs. You can use a bolster block to support your head. You can always take your bolster underneath your knees as well. That's a nice support. Oh, sorry. I think I just stood on my cat's tail. Lean forward. And know that this is quite loud on your body. And if you're spent after those 2 pigeons, you can just be really soft here, really lazy. Not here for too long. Okay. When you're ready, start to come back out of this shape. Take your feet to the floor. Last time like this, windshield wiper your legs from side to side. And we're going to finish in a nice bridge because we never do that. So grab your bolster or your block. What I'm going to do tonight is have my knees over my bolster. And I'm going to have my back supported by my block, but depending on your props and your personal preference, you do what you want to do. Remember, bridge is where we're elevated from the sacrum. Set yourself up for your version of bridge. It's going to be a nice long hold. So make sure you're cozy, toasty. And when you're ready, slide your prop underneath your lower spine, face your bum. And legs can be extended or bent. Hands can rest by your side or up and back behind you. And we'll introduce another pranayama for this last little portion of the class. Really simple. We've done this a few times before, counting to 10. As you inhale, think 1. As you exhale, think 2. Inhale 3, exhale 4, all the way up to 10. And once you get to 10, you go back to 1. So all of your inhales will be odd numbers and all of your exhales will be even numbers. And you might get to the point where you lose count. You can start again, or you can just allow your head to drift into that kind of sweet space between sleep and wake. Your legs are extended, take your feet to the floor. And gently push into your feet and slide whatever prop you're using below you away. Taking the back body down to the ground, maybe hug your knees in. Enjoying the contact with the earth. And from here, take your feet back down to the ground. And we're going to set up for a really nice long Shavasana. Make sure you're warm, slightly longer than usual. You may wish to set yourself up in a shape. Maybe your feet to touch, maybe knees supported. Get your duvets if you want to. And just check that your back bend is no longer happening. And you can do that as we did at the beginning of class by just lifting your hips, thrusting the pelvis slightly, and then lowering down your spine, just like when you freshen up your sheets. You flap your duvet to flatten it all out. From here, let your hands rest where they go naturally. Allow your belly the space to rise and fall and spread outwards to the sides and draw back into the center. Imagine that you've got a nice gentle weight on your body, like a weighted blanket, something safe and secure, the sensation of a hug. Perhaps that warmth we were building at the beginning of class. Allow that to let you feel grounded and supported. Relax your jaw. Release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Soften all the muscles around your mouth and around your eyes. Smooth out your forehead. And enjoy some stillness for the next wee while. Begin to deepen your breath. Bring some awareness back to your body. Tap into what's going on around you. Creaky floorboards, sounds of traffic outside. Stay lying where you are. If you've got the luxury of time, I suggest that you enjoy the stillness of the post-Zoom call once I leave. Just taking a wee moment to readjust to your surroundings and recognize your place in this time. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely week. I'll see you all in a week's time.